Hello everyone and welcome back to Rambling Through History. Today I'm going to be talking about how carrier pigeons were very vital in saving the lost battalion in World War I. This was a battalion that was caught behind enemy lines and was under dire need of supplies and even under direct fire of their own men. Without this pigeon making its way through enemy lines, being injured and still making it to where it needed to be, the 77th Division would have probably been destroyed and the famous story of the last battalion would have never happened. If you did enjoy this video, please remember to like, subscribe, and comment down below. And with that, let's get on with the video. The ability to communicate is essential to soldiers in the field. Without communications to their commanders or support units in the rear area, soldiers on the front line can't send messages about their progress, requesting needed supplies, or call for help when things reach their worst. During World War I, messages were sometimes transmitted by wire, telegraph, or field phone, but two-way radio communications had not yet become available. Sometimes a unit was ordered to attack over a broad and often difficult terrain, making it impossible to string the wire necessary for communications. In these situations, a field commander often carried with him several carrier pigeons. When the United States entered World War I in 1917, the Army Signal Corps was given 600 pigeons for the purpose of passing messages when it couldn't be done by signal flag or field phone. The pigeons were donated by bird breeders in Great Britain, then trained for their jobs by American soldiers. During the Meuse-Argonne Offensive, the 2-month battle that finally ended World War I, 442 pigeons were used in the area of Verdun to carry hundreds of messages. This is how the system worked. When a commander in the field needed to send a message, he first wrote it out on a paper, trying to be as brief and detailed as possible. Then he called for one of the Signal Corps officers who would bring one of the pigeons that went with the soldiers into battle. The message would be put into the capsule on the bird's leg, and then the bird would be tossed high into the air to fly home. The carrier pigeon would fly back to his home coop behind the lines. When he landed, the wires in the coop would make a sound or a buzzer sound, and another soldier of the Signal Corps would know a message had arrived. He would go to the coop, remove the message from the canister, and then send it by telegraph, field phone, or a personal messenger to the right people. Carrier pigeons performed an important job, but it was also very dangerous. If the enemy soldiers were nearby when a pigeon was released, they knew that the bird would be carrying important messages, and they tried their best to shoot the pigeon down so the message couldn't be delivered. Probably the most famous of all carrier pigeons was one named Cher Ami, two French words meaning dear friend. Cher Ami spent several months on the front lines during the fall of 1918. She flew 12 important missions to deliver messages. Perhaps the most important message was one she carried on October 4th, 1918. Mr. Charles Whittlesey was a lawyer in New York, but when the United States called for soldiers to help France, Whittlesey joined the army and went to Europe to help. He was made the commander of a battalion of soldiers in the 77th Infantry Division, known as the Liberty Division, because most of the men came from New York and wore a bright blue patch on their shoulders that had on it the Statue of Liberty. On October 3rd, 1918, Major Whittlesey and more than 500 men were trapped in a small depression on the side of the hill. Surrounded by enemy soldiers, many were killed and wounded on the first day, and by the second day, only a little more than 200 men were still alive or unwounded. Major Whittlesey sent out several pigeons to tell his commanders where he was and how bad the trap was. The next afternoon, he only had one pigeon left, Cher Ami. During the afternoon, the American artillery tried to send some protection by firing hundreds of big artillery rounds into the ravine where the Germans surrounded Major Whittlesey and his men. Unfortunately, the American commanders didn't know exactly where their American soldiers were and started dropping the big shells right on top of them. It was a horrible situation that might have resulted in Major Whittlesey and all of his men getting killed by their own army. Major Whittlesey called for his last pigeon, Cher Ami. He wrote a quick and simple note telling the men who directed the artillery guns where their Americans were located and asking them to stop. The note that was put in the canister on Cher Ami's left leg simply said, "We're along the road parallel to 276.4. Our own artillery is dropping a barrage directly on us. For heaven's sake, stop it." As Cher Ami tried to fly back home, the Germans saw her rising out of the brush and opened fire. For several minutes, bullets zipped through the air all around her. For a minute, it looked like the little pigeon was going to fall, that she wasn't going to make it. The doomed American infantrymen were crushed. Their last hope was plummeting to earth against a very heavy attack from German bullets. Somehow, Cher Ami managed to spread her wings and started climbing again, higher and higher beyond the range of enemy guns. The little bird flew 25 miles in only 25 minutes to deliver its message. The shelling stopped and more than 200 American lives were saved, all because the little bird would never quit trying. On her last mission, Cherami was badly wounded. When she finally reached her coop, she could fly no longer, and the soldier that answered the sound of the bell found the little bird lying on its back, covered in blood. She had been blinded from one eye, and a bullet had hurt her breastbone, making a hole the size of a quarter. From that awful hole, hanging by just a few tendons, was almost severed leg of the brave little bird. Attached to that leg was a silver canister with the all-important message. Once again, Cherami wouldn't quit until she had finished the job. Cherami became the hero of the 77th Infantry Division, and the medics worked long and hard to patch her up. When the French soldiers that the Americans were helping learned the story of Cherami's bravery and determination, they gave her one of their own country's great honors. Cherami, the brave carrier pigeon, was presented with the French Croix de Guerre, Cross of War, with a palm leaf. Through the dedicated medics saved Cherami's life, they couldn't save her leg. The men of the division were careful to take care of the little bird that had saved 200 of their friends, and even carried a small wooden leg for her. When Cherami was well enough to travel, the little one-legged hero was put on a boat to the United States. The commander of all the United States Army, the great General John J. Pershing, personally saw Cherami as she departed France. And with that, that will be the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for coming and enjoying this video with me. I would like to apologize for not uploading any videos for about a week or two. I usually try to get at least one out every week, but I have just been extremely busy with school, traveling back and forth, and doing other things with life. So I greatly appreciate any support that you guys still give me, and I hope to be back on track with bringing out at least one video a week. Once again, if you guys did enjoy, please remember to like, subscribe, and please comment down below any other videos you would like me to do. Once again, thank you and have a wonderful day.